Today we are going to talk about adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. So when you add and subtract decimals, it's the same sort of rule. So if I wanted to add two numbers such as, let's say, 348 plus 261. Okay, if I'm going to add those decimals, I need to make sure to line up my decimals. Okay, and my decimal place is just going to stay in that same spot. So then I'm just going to add normally. 8 plus 1 is 9. 6 plus 4 we have 10. We carry our 1. 3 plus 2 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. So our answer is 6.09. Same with subtraction. If I have, let's say, 5.25 minus 3.15. Okay, I'm going to just line up my decimals. Make my decimal right there. 5 minus 5 is 0. 2 minus 1 is 1. And 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay? Adding, subtracting, very simple. Just make sure that you line up your decimals and you bring that down into your answer. Now with multiplying decimals, it's a little bit different. Okay. As you can see here, I did not line up my decimals, but what I focused on was lining up my numbers. So my 3 and my 5 were my last numbers in my multiplication problem, so I made sure to line those ones up. And then I'm just going to multiply like normal. So 5 times 3, we have 15. Carry your 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, add your 0. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21. Okay, now when we add those together, we get 5, 7, 5, 2, 2. Okay, now is the important part. What you're going to do is you're going to look at how many decimal places each one of these decimals are. So here I have 2 decimal places that I'm going to be moving. And here I have 1 decimal place. Okay, so what you do with that 2 and that 1 is you add them together and you get 3. Now when you do that, in the answer down here, what you're going to do is take that decimal and you're going to move 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Your answer now becomes 22.575. And that's how you multiply decimals. So it's very important right here to pay attention to your adding your 2 and your 1, and you're moving the 1, 2, 3 decimal places for your answer. Now, when you divide decimals, it's a little bit different. Your divisor, so if my divisor is 0.4, and I want to see how many times that goes into 0.32. Okay, my divisor is this 4. I need to change this divisor to a whole number before I can start dividing. So to change the divisor to a whole number, I need to make sure that my decimal place is behind the number. So now this is the whole number 4. Once I move that decimal place one time, I'm going to move this decimal place one time. And as soon as I move it that one time, I'm going to go ahead and put it right in my answer. So after that, my decimal place does not move. It's always going to stay right there. So now I look at it and I say, does 4 go into 3? No, 4 does not go into 3. But does 4 go into 32? Yes, 4 goes into 32 8 times. We get our 32 and our 0. So our answer is 0.8. Okay, so however many times you move on the outside, you move on the inside and you do regular division. Well, that's it for adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. If you have any questions, make sure to ask me in class. Thanks.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.